I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. So Donald Trump's lawyers are desperately trying to prevent certain evidence from going before the jury in the E. Jean Carroll civil lawsuit for sexual assault and defamation, which is set to go to trial mid-April of this year. Donald Trump has tried a number of delay tactics to try to derail the trial, to try to postpone the trial, but federal judge from the Southern District of New York, Lewis Kaplan, is not having it. Most recently, earlier in the week, talking about how Donald Trump was trying to propose some deal that would delay the trial. We're not doing any deals. This case is going to trial. And now Donald Trump and his lawyers are trying to exclude evidence of other women who Donald Trump is alleged to have sexually assaulted throughout his life. What E. Jean Carroll's lawyers intend to show through what's called Me Too evidence is that Donald Trump is a serial rapist, that throughout his entire life, he has sexually assaulted women, demeaned women, attacked women, re-victimized women he already victimized by trying to shame them publicly and harass them publicly, and to put all that evidence on to show a pattern and practice of behavior. And generally, this type of Me Too evidence is admissible in trials where a plaintiff is alleging that they have been sexually assaulted or sexually harassed, as is the case here. Now, Donald Trump's lawyers, with his new lawyer, Joe Tacopina, and Alina Habba, who are representing him in this New York federal case set for trial in April, are arguing in what is called a motion in limine, which is also known as a motion to exclude, that the evidence of all of these other sexual assaults that Donald Trump is alleged to have engaged in over his lifetime, to present that to a jury would be so prejudicial that its prejudicial nature would outweigh its probative value. And therefore, the judge should exercise his discretion to exclude the evidence that may otherwise be admissible, that the prejudicial nature outweighs its probative value to the jury. Now, Judge Lewis Kaplan has not ruled favorably for Donald Trump essentially throughout this case. So I do not expect Judge Lewis Kaplan to grant the motions to exclude that are filed by Donald Trump's lawyers. And when we go into what these motions are that were filed, I mean, you really see the horrific nature of Donald Trump's conduct throughout his lifetime. And so I want you just to think for a moment before I show you some of this evidence that Donald Trump's lawyers want to exclude, what a trial against Donald Trump will look like in April. So I think the first thing that we will see is all of the other women who Donald Trump sexually assaulted throughout the years. They will testify. We will hear video and audio of Donald Trump bragging about sexually assaulting women, like the Access Hollywood tapes. Then E. Jean Carroll will testify. Then Donald Trump will testify. Donald Trump testified in a deposition in these proceedings, and he did not fare very well in the deposition. There are two key points that E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, is going to point out. First, one of Donald Trump's main defenses, and this is sickening and horrific, but he states that he cannot possibly have raped E. Jean Carroll because E. Jean Carroll is not his type. That's what he says. That's the main reason why he says it couldn't take place. Yet, when Donald Trump was shown a picture of E. Jean Carroll from several decades ago when she was with him in the photograph, Donald Trump thought it was Marla Maples, his ex-wife, which directly undercuts his view that E. Jean Carroll would not be his type after he thought it was actually his ex-wife, Marla Maples, in the photo. The other thing that E. Jean Carroll's lawyers were able to establish is Donald Trump calls truthful things hoaxes, when they are inconvenient or harmful for Donald Trump's reputation. So there's a line of questioning in the depositions where Donald Trump is asked, so do you think climate change is a hoax? And Donald Trump says yes. And Donald Trump is asked, do you think the 2020 elections was a hoax? And Donald Trump says yes. And do you think that mail-in ballots are a hoax? And Donald Trump says yes. And so they proceed to say, E. Jean Carroll's lawyers then say, okay, so all of those are hoaxes, and this is also a hoax. Is that correct? And then Donald Trump goes, yeah, just like Russia, 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 Ukraine, 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 this is also a hoax just like that. E. Jean Carroll's lawyers are going to use that as well. And then, as I mentioned, they're going to show this deposition testimony, which Donald Trump is desperately trying to exclude. So this is deposition testimony from Jessica Leeds, who says Trump molested her while she was a young saleswoman on a Texas to New York flight in the 1970s. Here is what Leeds said. Answer. Well, he was with his hands grabbing me, trying to kiss me, grabbing my breasts, pulling me towards him, pulling himself onto me. It was kind of a struggle going on. Part of my brain was wondering why the people in the back and the seat behind me were noticing that the seat was jiggling around, and why wasn't the guy that was sitting across the aisle saying something, or where in the hell was the stewardess? That went on for what seemed like a terribly long time, but it probably was just a few seconds. It was when he started putting his hand up my skirt that I realized that nobody was going to save me but me. And I was on the aisle. I managed to wheel my way out of the chair and grab my purse, and I went back to my seat in the back. Question. And did Donald Trump say anything while this was happening? Answer. Not a word. There was never any sound that I recall. So that is one of the deposition portions that Donald Trump is trying to exclude, and he's trying to exclude the testimony from Jessica Leeds. They're also trying to block the jurors from hearing about an encounter that Trump had with a People magazine journalist at Mar-a-Lago in 2005, where this was supposed to be a sit-down interview regarding Trump's one-year anniversary with Melania, but Donald Trump was trying to sexually assault and attack the interviewer here. And this happened back in 2005. This is from the deposition of Natasha Steinberg. And she goes, I walked into the room first, and I'm looking around the room wondering, what does he want to show me? Nice room. What does he want to show me? Then I hear the door close behind me, and I turn around, and he's right here. And he grabs my shoulders and pushes me against the wall and starts kissing me. Question. And did he say anything when he started kissing you? Answer. No. Question. And do you recall how you reacted? Answer. I recall pushing him back twice. I recall trying to say something but not really being able to. I was so flustered. Question. And when you pushed him back the first time, do you recall how Donald Trump reacted? Answer, yes, he just came toward me and kept on coming toward me. And so that is testimony that Donald Trump wants to exclude. He also wants to exclude the tape that was exposed by the Washington Post, where he was on the hot mic bragging about sexually assaulting women and getting away with it. This was the interview he was doing with Billy Bush, right? And you, of course, remember this tape where he brags about how he tried to sexually assault an entertainment reporter, Nancy O'Dell. He says he, quote, tried to move on her like a bitch, end quote, but, quote, couldn't get there, and she was married. And then they're about to meet an actress, Ariane Zucker, and Donald Trump says the following, quote, I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. That's something that Donald Trump wants excluded, that E. Jean Carroll lawyers absolutely want to play. They also want to play all of Donald Trump's speeches where he attacks attacks the victims and says how all of these claims are pure fiction, and show the pattern of how Donald Trump attacks and tries to intimidate the victims at all of the rallies that he has, and how he talks about their looks. E. Jean Carroll's lawyers want to present that. Donald Trump's lawyers want to exclude that. Also, E. Jean Carroll lawyers want to bring in Donald Trump's treatment of women who were part of the Miss Universe pageant when Trump owned it, and the horrific things he said about their bodies and the horrific treatment that he made of them, as well as the Miss Teen pageants and his behavior towards them. Donald Trump wants all of that excluded. This trial, folks, is going to take place in April. I just want you to think you've heard that evidence. It's going before Judge Lewis Kaplan if that's going to come in to the trial. I think it will absolutely be permitted in the trial. It will show a course of conduct by Donald Trump. It will show the pattern that he's engaged in of sexual assault and then covering it up. It's, to me, extremely probative and extremely relevant and important, both on the defamation and the underlying sexual assault claims at issue. And I think Judge Lewis Kaplan is going to allow it. And this is a case where Donald Trump's going to have to show up to court every single day. He's going to have to leave Mar-a-Lago, be in a federal courtroom in New York as this evidence is presented, and he's going to have to testify before a jury. And it's one of the first times we've seen the deposition testimony here where Trump's done horrible, but one of the first times in recent memory where Trump's going to testify before a jury and be confronted with all of these facts. And that is going to be happening in April. So the wheels of justice are moving in the right direction, folks. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your support here. Also, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. I'm Ben Meiselas. Until next time. Also, check out Killing County on Hulu if you can.
Our blue wall stopped the red wave and election deniers got denied election. That's why we're celebrating with the new Democracy Prevails team. We've got lots of work to do, but we should all be proud that when democracy was tested, democracy prevailed. You've earned this. Don't wait. Get yours right now at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.